My name is Vanessa Akins, and I am a Special Program Management Coordinator in the Prince George's County Planning Department and co-project lead on the Suitland Cultural Arts Implementation Strategy. And you will hear shortly from Adam Doxson, my champion co-leader on the project. Adam's in the back. So, on behalf of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, I extend to you a warm welcome this evening. We are appreciative of those of you who have participated in previous meetings of the Cultural Arts Study and previous studies and plans related to the revitalization of the Suitland community. Many of you who I am pleased to see here tonight. As we look to move toward the goals from aspirations where possible to full reality, you will be asked to continue to stay involved as we focus on cultural arts and placemaking over the next 8 months. All persons you will hear from tonight have a clear sense of purpose, commitment, collaboration with you, our residents and stakeholders. Prince George's County Planning Board Chair has been a strong advocate for the redevelopment of the Suitland area and advocated on how the Department of Parks and Recreation and the Planning Department could come together and bring cultural arts implementation as a means to increase the economic vitality of the area. We will now hear from Chairman Peter Shapiro.
Good evening, everybody. I want to thank Vanessa for the introduction, also for all the great work that she's been doing for this effort and for so many efforts across the county. On behalf of the Prince George's County Planning Board and the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, I want to welcome you to this important kickoff event. On a bit of a personal and also professional note, I've been involved in these activities for a long time with another role. You're going to hear from some of our sister organizations, but previous to this role, I was the executive director for the Revenue Authority of Prince George's County and was a part of the effort to bring in a lot of the new development that you see in partnership with the Redevelopment Authority and bringing in Creative Suitland and some of the other experts. This is very, very much near and dear to my heart, and I'm excited to see about all the progress that we've been making and very much looking forward to seeing the next steps toward this. Creative Placemaking is about using arts and culture to strategically shape the physical and social character of a specific location. And our goal is to create spaces that really are animated and inclusive and reflective of this community's unique identity. And that key word there is inclusive. So it is imperative that we hear from and listen to all the voices in the community, the residents, the artists, the business owners, the local organizations, all have a critical role to play. Your ideas and your feedback are crucial. The art spaces and events also have the potential to become community economic engines. They help create jobs, they support local businesses. This is also a big piece of what we believe in. This is around the nexus of arts and economic development and placemaking. It's all there. Over the next several months, the Planning Department will actively seek engagement from community members through a series of stakeholder interviews and design workshops. They're very good at this and look forward to a lot of interesting, fun, engaging events. And the workshop will serve as a platform for education. Education for you and education for us as well. It is very much a two-way street. We hope that you as community members will understand better the principles of placemaking and the power of cultural arts in fostering vibrant communities. We invite you all to get involved in all sorts of ways, share your ideas, volunteer your time, spread the word. Together we can transform this community through the power of arts and culture, build off the strengths that are already here, and bring even more to the community. So I want to thank you once again for being here, for your passion, for your dedication, and hopefully together we will make this strategy a great success. We will be joined at some point by our council member, District 7 council member, Christy Orala. Crystal's not here quite yet. When she comes in, I'll be sure to introduce her, and then you'll be hearing from her as well. And I think we're going to turn it over to our planning director. You're going to turn it over to our planning director. I'm going to turn it over to Vanessa. She'll do the rest. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Shapiro, for getting us to this point of integration. And now, and not least, I would be remiss if I did not bring my leader to the podium, who is a strong advocate of planning equity, inclusive community building, and collaboration. I bring to you Director Lakeisha Hall, Prince George's County Planning Department.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, perfect. So as stated by Vanessa Atkins, I'm Lakeisha Hall. I'm the new planning director for Prince George's County. I'm in my 6th month in this role. I've been doing planning for about 22 years across the country. I previously was planning director in the city of Miami. I've also worked in Los Angeles, Charlotte, North Carolina, some places that you guys are familiar with. So this is very, very near and dear to my heart when it comes to placemaking, especially in communities of color. And so I'm super excited about what we have here today and all the staff that's here to provide support as part of this conversation. So by a show of hands, how many community members are familiar with Prince George's County Cultural Arts Study? So let me see. All right, about half of the room, that's good. We're gonna get you more involved throughout this evening, throughout this process. The study highlights the rich cultural heritage of the county. It is a collaboration between Prince George's County Planning Department, the Department of Parks and Recreation, and the Prince George's County Arts and Humanities Council. This study aims to achieve 3 purposes. The first is to develop strategies for integrating cultural arts into the county's economic development and land use. To build upon, strengthen, and invest in the people, places, and communities and ideas that define art and culture, especially within your specific community. And then lastly, we want to examine the current and future impact of cultural arts in the county's economy. Placemaking matters. We're here tonight to talk about how do we create a more culturally sound and a space that really reflects the community's desires and needs. Suitland is the first place that we've chosen for this program, which we're really excited about, and we're also looking for other sites throughout the county. This will enable us to have a vibrant Suitland community through placemaking. We just don't want it to be a buzzword. We really want you guys to really feel like it's part of your community moving forward. Remember, this is the first workshop. Our staff are very involved in social media and other forms of way to get engaged, so please stay tuned, please sign up. We want you guys to come out to future opportunities like this. In addition, we are trying to touch on the 4 Ps. In my department, when I got hired, my boss, Chairman Shapiro, he wanted me to make sure I focus on a nice strategy for this department, and I'm super excited to share those 4 Ps. The first is projects. That means that we're aiming to have real results. We're not here just to be here to talk. We really want to have real results. Partnerships. That's why we're here as well. We have a lot of staff here, a lot of community members. You guys are taking time away from your family, from doing things that you guys typically do on a Thursday night. And so we want to be mindful of our partnerships here. So what does it mean to also partner with the agencies? Because you guys need to make sure we're doing our job as well. People. We can't do this without the people. So it's important that we have real conversations, tough conversations, and that we're able to take that information back to give you guys the real results. And then placemaking, right? So that's why we're here tonight, to really understand and unpack what does placemaking mean. So thank you for your time, and we look forward to the conversation this evening.
Thank you, Director Ho. Now, as I said earlier, one cannot do this alone. I have a great co-partner who has been doing placemaking throughout the county, and so I bring to you Adam Dodson.
Thanks, Vanessa, and good evening, everybody. I first want to thank our Parks Department for allowing us to use this venue, setting it up so nicely for everybody and providing the refreshments. So a huge thank you to Parks and Recreation staff. I also would like to recognise that we have Creative Suitland staff in the room, and we've had a wonderful partnership with them, and we look forward to many more years of partnerships. Lakeisha talked about the importance of partnerships, and you'll hear tonight in a moment now from some key partner agencies. The main purpose of this meeting tonight is to have the General Services Administration come up and talk about some of the work they're trying to do in your community right here at the corner of Suitland Road and Silver Hill Road. If you haven't already had a chance to look at these boards, please do so before you leave, and do talk to their staff if you have any comments or suggestions. But before I do that, we have staff from the Redevelopment Authority, from the Revenue Authority, and the Prince George's County Arts and Humanities Council. So now it's my pleasure to turn over for the Redevelopment Authority and to Gerald Kanohia.
Good evening. Jerry Conner here from the Redevelopment Authority. Just to give you a little background, I don't want to steal a show from... Better? Thank you. So the Redevelopment Authority is charged with facilitating land and property acquisition, development or redevelopment, and disposition for residential, commercial, and industrial purposes in the furtherance of the public interest. What that means is we work on public-sponsored development, real estate development activities. When I say public sponsored, sponsored by the county. One in particular that is impacted by what we're talking about here tonight is called Town Square Suitland Federal Center. For those of you, everybody know what the Census Bureau is? So directly across from the Census Bureau, across Suitland Road, you may have seen what's gone on for the past several years, which is essentially the transformation of what we used to call Homer Avenue or Suitland Manor. Right now you see 200 some odd townhomes, 100 and some odd senior rental apartments, and you also see the land that's cleared that's going to also bring retail, entertainment spaces, and so forth in the area. We're changing the built environment, but it's going to be so much more exciting when we dress the place up with public art. We don't do that alone at the Redevelopment Authority. We have here with us tonight our partners from Cobra Johnson and Rodney, who have actually been on the ground now for what, 8, 9 years? That caused a lot of what you see there to be there. We also have partners from the Revenue Authority who are also co-developing that land, but projects like that don't happen without a lot of people working together. So it's the Revenue Authority, the Redevelopment Authority, and a lot of private work that goes into that. What we have for you at the desk is some handouts to give you a sense of what's going to happen at Town Square Suitland Federal Center over the next 5 years as we complete the project, as we initiate the completion phase of that project. It's going to be really exciting to see the built environment change, but it's going to be even more exciting to see what happens when we stitch that part of the Suitland Road to the Census Bureau or the Federal Center across the street. We thank you very much for the opportunity to present with you, and we're actually looking forward to hearing Rodney Goliath talk tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Gerald. And next up is Mr. Fabian Lewis from the Revenue Authority.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Fabian Lewis from the Revenue Authority. It's a pleasure seeing you, Mr. Chairman. And greetings from the Revenue Authority Executive Director, Denise, and the Deputy Director, Ms. Samara Gomez. As my colleague said, the Revenue Authority has been part and parcel of all of development planning for this whole area. The Revenue Authority, there's a project that was awarded to Jerry Lynch, I think it's 2021 or 2022, and they're currently in the planning phase. I left some documents in front there so you can go through and see what we are doing. This project will capitalize on the development at Suitland Federal Center and at the surrounding residential properties adjacent to the business district. Now, if you when you're free, you can take a look and see where the development will take place. This is the parcels A and B for the development of that Jerry Lynch developers were awarded. And the details will be provided at a later time. We cannot provide more details because it is still in the planning phase. But trust me, this project excites us and excites me personally, and we're going to have more community engagement as the project goes along. The project cannot be successful without the involvement of the community. There's another project that the Revenue Authority is engaged in, and that's Creative Suitland Redevelopment. The strategy there is the project is to create affordable, artist-friendly, and social entrepreneur community change maker housing over creative art space. The project will promote regional placemaking and support Suitland redevelopment that will enhance community vibrancy and activity, as well as increase residential walkability along Silver Hill Road. And that, when you're ready to walk around. That project will be, is here at the bottom here. You'll look at it, it's on Silver Hill Road. So please take a look at all of the handles that we have there. And we will have, as the project goes along, we will have more community engagement. It is something that the Revenue Authority believes in. The executive director, the chairman, or deputy director believe in all of that. So you will not be left out. And there's on the document, there's a phone number, there's an email, and there's a name that you can contact if you need additional information. Thank you very much for listening to me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Fabian. And now I'd like to bring Ms. Keisha Mason from the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council. And do have a look at all their wonderful displays and other things at the back of the room there.
Good evening. Thank you, Adam. We are delighted to be here. My name is Keisha Mason, and I'm from the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council. By raise of hands, how many of you are familiar with our agency? Oh, great, awesome. Well, essentially, our mission is to create a vibrant and thriving Prince George's County through arts and culture. So we are, again, excited to be here, and as a co-sponsor of the Culture Arts Study, we are excited to partner once again with the Planning Department, with the Redevelopment Authority, the Revenue Authority, and Creative Suitland and GSA to elevate this community's unique story and history through public art and creative placemaking. As part of our core mission is to enrich our community, creating vibrant, safe, and inclusive spaces. And we look forward to working with our partners, but most importantly, working with you to bring to life new innovative projects to our Suitland community. And we hope, and we are very confident that this project will also enhance the cultural fabric of our community, build community unity, catalyze economic redevelopment and revitalization, and as well as foster creativity. So personally, as a Suitland alum and a Prince George's County native, like I've seen the changes, and I'm excited to see how everything unfolds and get the culture arts study implemented and executed. Again, this is hopefully the first of many planning meetings, and we hope to engage with you because at the end of the day, your voice matters, your concern matters, what you want to see the community, how you wanted to see it shape matters. And so we look forward to hearing from you. I definitely encourage you all to check out our booth in the back. We have an array of programs and initiatives that support the creative community within Prince George's County, from our art in public places all the way to our Prince George's Film Office. So we're excited to be here, and I look forward to connecting with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Keisha. And before we hand over to the General Service Administration, I'd just like to invite Ms. Sonia Ewing from the Department of Parks and Recreation to say a few words when she's ready.
Good evening. Again, my name is Sonia Ewing. I'm from the Department of Parks and Recreation, representing our director, Mr. Bill Tyler, and also representing the folks here in this building who got the meeting ready. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Angie. I want to say thank you to our team from Parks and Rec. We are glad to be here to partner with you, the residents, in this Suitland area. We hope you use this center. Our team in park planning and environmental stewardship, we're here to partner in the placemaking vision. We all are about making great spaces for people to enhance their quality of life and recreate. I also am going to put a plug in for our brand new playground and sport court out here. We work very hard to try to make sure that we invest equitably around the county. And so those are some of our new investments here in your community. Look for us at Park Berkshire Park. So we hope you come back here, not only to plan with us, but also to play with us. And we appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you very much, Sonia. And now, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to the General Services Administration and Mr. Rodney Molden to take us through the main body of the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Appreciate the introduction. I'm Rodney Molden. I'm with the U.S. General Services Administration. And for all of you that don't know, the U.S. General Services Administration is considered a subtitle as GSA. GSA is the Federal Real Estate Agency for the federal government. GSA, we design, build, and construct federal buildings, of course, around the country. But I work for the National Capital Region that's responsible for, buildings in this region, which includes from Laurel, Maryland, down to Prince William County. I'm a community planner that's been working on the Suitland Federal Center for a number of years, and I've been serving as the outreach to the community for almost maybe about at least 10, 15 years. But specifically, I want you guys to know that the Suitland Federal Center is part of the community, and since we're part of the community, we want to outreach, we want to be connected to the communities. And as you can see, this map here, the Suitland Federal Center consists of many agencies. Most of the people know it from the Census Bureau that is located here, one of the largest agencies on the campus. But the Suitland Federal Center has a Suitland House, the NIMIC, the Navy, the National Records Center, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, a Child Care Center, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, part of Commerce. The Suitland Metro is located there, which many of you all probably realize. And then to come there, the Department of Labor plans to relocate about 1,800 employees from downtown Washington to the site. And of course, the reason why we're here tonight is to discuss this 5-acre parcel called Village Green at the corner of Suitland Road and Silver Hill Road. And that parcel has been in GSA's master plans for the Suitland Federal Center for nearly 20 years. And at the time the master plan was developed, the goal was to allow the community and the federal agencies to use that as a public place for gathering, for placemaking, and things like that. There've been a number of studies over the years as to how to use it. The community was interested in the farmers market. Some folks wanted some other activities. So I guess about a year or so ago, we did a planning charrette with the planners in our agency. We informed the Suitland Federal Center tenants and the community and the planning department that we would be studying this parcel to see how we could reconnect with the community. We had discussions with the Creative Suitland, Prince George County Planning Department, the Redevelopment Authority, and actually some residents in the area to come up with this plan that's in the handout that you have in front of you. But more important, around a lot of federal buildings, we have a lot of green space, and some of the green space is underutilized. So the goal here was to make this a place that the community and the federal employees could use for passive activities such as pop-up events, meetings, farmer markets, a place to sit and relax with co-workers or residents with the children, or just anybody that wanted to walk through the park to get to the metro. One of the highlighted features is that we noticed in our survey, people were actually taking a shortcut from Suitland Road through the park to get to the metro. So part of this plan, we're looking at maybe making it more walkable so people could get to the metro, making a path, making it more green vegetation, having benches, improving the lighting, and more importantly, we're not finalizing the plans until we get feedback from the residents. So we're here just to introduce this idea. And before you, at the table, you have note cards that you can write down some of your interests, some of your ideas, and we collect that. And we're going to go back to our colleagues and our other stakeholders and make your comments more inclusive as we prepare the final plans for this park. It's probably going to be a little while before we get to this, meaning that it's an FY25 a project, meaning that we have to get all the comments, the ideas, before we actually get to the final design. So the main purpose here tonight, we want to be more inclusive, and including our community stakeholders. So pretty much, once we're done, you can actually go up and take a closer look at the drawing, and you can write your ideas down, or if you have any more questions, just feel free to ask me about what could be done there, what you like to be done there, the timing of it, and how it fits into your idea of using a passive park. It won't be a park that's like baseball fields or basketball, things like that, more smaller level type of use of the park. Any questions? Okay. Well, we're not saying you can't bring a ball there, just do something light, whatever. But it won't be an actual field, you know, to play baseball and soccer and.
That was so cute and short and really compact. It'll fit in nice.
Yeah. Well, you can write your ideas on your note card, you know. Feel free to. We're not going to limit you from writing your ideas down. We want to collect those and go back and have more discussion about it. And there's probably going to be some more interactive meetings like this too before we get to the final design and construction.
I know you have more questions for Mr. Molden.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Floyd, and thank you all for taking the time to present to us today. I guess my question is really more about, and I don't know if you can answer this, but about traffic safety. I'm assuming that this is going to be a community park, like you said, for federal workers and the community, and people will be expected to walk, whether it's farmers markets or other things like that. So it's more about the people who are going to be crossing on the other side of Suitland Road than the people who are on the side where the park is.
A good question. That question came up years ago when the community and GSA were interested in putting a farmers market there, and we know that intersection and Silver Hill Road itself is a very high volume traffic area, and we've been working with the redevelopment authority on the Suitland development project. We have discussed moving more federal tenants to the site, and we've done transportation studies. And our transportation studies show that there should be more crosswalk and traffic calming type of activities, and that is actually part of the Suitland Road redevelopment project. The Suitland Road will be a traffic calming project to slow down the vehicles on that road. And I guess for events, if there were events there, we recommended that the county and the government, federal government, work with the public service agencies or the public safety agencies to provide some type of safety mechanisms. For example, if there was a farmers market, maybe closing off the street for a certain amount of time. Having public safety folks there to help regulate the traffic of people walking, crossing, and cars entering the area. So there's a whole lot of ideas that we have available when we move to finalizing the plans that could sort of address those issues.
Rodney. Excuse me. Let me add to that. So, in direct response to your question about calming or at least modifications to Suitland Road, the RDA with partners Cobra Johnson and Romney are currently in the process of redesigning the re-engineering to rebuild or to actually widen Suitland Road to implement some of these features that Mr. Molden spoke about. Number one is increase the ability for pedestrian traffic to cross the street, slow and calm traffic down to reduce vehicular speed to make it much easier, much more useful for pedestrian, make it pedestrian friendly, and also to install bike lanes and crossways so that the traffic flow on Suitland Road looks vastly different than what you've seen over the past several years. In order to get the town square community stitched in closer to the federal center. We have to do that. So with funding from the federal government that was awarded a couple of years ago, we've advanced. There's a ton of work that has to go into the planning process, coordination with Maryland State Highway Administration. We expect to put that work and activate that work sometime in the early part of 2025 after we go out to the market for solicitations for construction companies to actually do the work on the road. But you'll see that within the next 12 months, you'll see that road work begin.
And I'd like to expand on that to talk about the coordination. As part of the design for this project and for the road widening, GSA transferred a portion of the land, the sidewalk, the grass area, and the fence is going to be shifted further into the campus to allow for the widening of the road. So we've been working with the county on an agreement to allow for that too. So we're working together.
Can I just say, and the only reason the road's being widened, we keep talking about it, is because a beautiful median is going to go in the middle,
Right.
so that you don't have to run across, right? It helps pedestrians when you go across. You hit the median, you can relax and go across.
I was going to ask, I'm a 30-year resident of this area, so I know well the area. The park sounds great. The park sounds great, walking from one end of the town square to the metro. We always have, safety concerns. So would the federal police officers be able to patrol the park as people try to sit or walk back and forth to the metro?
Well, the issue came up too in the design of the park. The federal government has gates around the Super Federal Center and guard booths. The main gate is at Silver Hill Road, gate 5. Along Suitland Road, 2 of the gates are going to be consolidated, and they'll have the Federal Protective Police. We've been talking with the county and the federal government about having more patrol of that park area, physical and, mechanisms, cameras, if possible, and things like that to have a constant 24-hour watch on it.
Good evening. My name is Gwen. I am very new to the area. My question is, I understand it's a partnership with Prince George County and federal government. My question is, ultimately, once this is built and set up, so who's ultimately responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep and stuff like that?
Well, the property will stay under the jurisdiction of the federal government. So the federal government is generally responsible for the maintenance of the area. In the event that there is a use permit provided for an activity, the user of that will be responsible for the maintenance. For example, if there's a pop-up art event or farmers market, when GSA provides that agreement, in the agreement, it will say the event holder will have to make sure it's back in the condition it was prior to the event. So all that would be in writing, be discussed with GSA. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of the Suitland Federal Center. But when the master plan was developed over 20 years ago, GSA met with the community, and that land was sort of dedicated for cooperative use with the community and the federal tenants. Okay.
Do we have any other questions, comments?
I would like just to speak to the traffic calming concern. know, we would love to work with GSA and the Redevelopment Authority to create ground murals. Transportation studies have shown that the use of ground murals actually calms traffic areas, reduce traffic, reduce accidents, and so in terms of creative placemaking, that's a great opportunity to bring into this project to help with the concern of traffic.
You may want to note that on the index card on tape. Okay. So I can correct it. Okay.
Thank you. Think of like Black Lives Matter sign that's in DC. That's considered.
Hello, my name is Tanika Hoffman, and I've pretty much lived here all my life, but also all around the world. I think what is happening is very beautiful and elegant, but I do have a question pertaining to the opposite side of the Census Bureau, and what would be the strategy and plan for that? Because currently there are pawn shop and liquor store, as well as other unsightly buildings. And then you have this beautiful development that is blossoming across the street. So what would be the strategy to beautify, I guess that would be the left side in that area? I mean, of course, the two gas stations make sense because people will need gas if they're coming in and out of work, but just the current existence of buildings that have been there since I was a kid. I would just be curious to know, is there any thought or strategy around those entities? Thank you.
That's a question for Prince George County Planning, but from a GSA standpoint, the federal tenants in the building had some of the same questions because the federal employees like to come out and shop and be involved in activities, go to lunch, things like that. So that's a good question to ask.
So those, sorry, can you hear me? So those properties are privately owned. So the owner of the property, they're responsible for. We're doing what we can for the parcels that we've identified that the Redevelopment Authority owns, the Revenue Authority, and we're working in conjunction. But unfortunately, those are privately owned, so we don't have much by way of jurisdiction in terms of changing those. That's not something that we would do. So again, that's not within our jurisdiction. So those are, again, privately owned, but we are hoping to redevelop. We're hoping that it'll, again, result in some positive changes along the community. So we can't say what those owners are going to do with those properties.
Redevelopment really brings about other types of redevelopment of areas. So as you begin to see the changes, trust me, those business owners are going to want to make changes as well. You have 1,800 new employees coming to that area who is going to also have spending authority to go out into those areas. You also have the existing residents here who are going to demand better services, better stores in the area. So along with that, please stay involved. Give us your information, include that on your cards, because we will be bringing them to the table as well.
So in addition to the property that we own, we actually have more control over what can happen to the property that we own. The Redevelopment Authority also has programs that support improvement to privately owned commercial property and residential property. So we actually have a fund that goes out annually to support retail establishments, certainly on Silver Hill Road, and a lot of work on St. Barnabas Road off of Silver Hill Road, where we've actually supported small shopping center owners, small retail owners to improve the facade and some of the streetscape associated with their properties to give them a little bit more curb appeal and hopefully to improve their tenant mix. Those funds are available now for those retail establishments on Silver Hill Road that you identified, but again, that's not the same level of impact that we can have on properties that we own. But those that we own will indirectly pressure those that are there to step their game up if they want to be competitive when you have more employees at the Federal Center, more residents moving to the area, and more visitors. I think what you end up having is a situation where existing retail has to step up to the new market that's coming in. But those things take a lot more time and are more gradual. But we are certainly committed to making sure that the properties we own set the bar for the new market that we're expecting.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, oh, we have two here. Thank you. Thank you. You signed the sign-in sheet as you came in. We will be keeping your information and forwarding you every time we update our website. You will be getting the information about what is going on, what our partners are doing. We're going to be sharing that sign-in sheet with the partners here to let them continue to dialogue with you about what is going on in the area. And we really want you to stay tuned and be a part of this initiative. So this is not the only meeting you're going to come to, correct? And so we want to make sure you stay involved as we go through this 8-month process. We want it to be about you, the residents. So I'm sure I'm going to see your face in the place on many a times, okay? Okay, that's great.
Hi, good evening. My name is Emily Henry, and I am part of the Village of Town Square, one of the new residents. And I'm just concerned about what the dream I was sold when I bought my home and what it just feels like the focus is shifting because I don't feel like they're finished over where we are. I was sold this, and that right now is a volleyball court and a horseshoe thing and some things. So I'm just concerned when I see other things happening and things aren't complete. So I just want to know what the timeline is, and we have our own group me chat, so I would just want to be able to take information back to my neighbors and say, this is what I heard, because we have meetings all the time. So I just want to know, like, what's the timeline for this?
Are you talking about the timeline for the park or the development?
Or how is it working in conjunction with what's going on the other side of the street?
Okay.
Because what you have over here, you don't need to have two parks that have a volleyball court. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just wondering, they should be really like working together.
Yes, we have been working with the redevelopment authority, and they're aware of the difference in the type of park. The park on the federal land is more of a passive park, what you might call a place more for mild activities, no major sports or anything like that. And when we planned the park, we had meetings with the redevelopment authority, the Prince George County planners, so we are aware of each other's goals, that we won't duplicate anything.
So also I'm going to respond for the villages and Town Square, Suitland Federal Center. Your statement is fair. I mean, it's recognized, it's acknowledged. So impartial response, what you're talking about is what we call Central Park, where the volleyball courts are. Those are temporary uses while we complete the full design and the implementation of the full design for that phase. And so you're a great point. The uses in Town Square will not be redundant to the uses or the use of the park space at the Federal Center, but for now we wanted to make sure there was something there to make use of that space, make it available to the residents while what we were planning to complete the process. So what you see is temporary, but that's fair. And from a scheduling, planning standpoint, by way of explanation, not excuse, COVID slowed things down, not just for us, but also for the environment. We had, supply chain issues, as well as the interest rate environment has caused us to rethink and to reschedule how we implement the completion of the development activities on the Town Square of the Suitland Federal Center subdivision. What you see is a projected schedule. We're committed to making sure that all the elements that are left to be done are started within 5 years of the beginning of 24. So what you see is not only what we plan to start and finish, but what we plan to start within the next 5 years so that all of the remaining elements are completed. And that's a projected timeline, but that's also based on what we've done in the past 6 months to make sure that we are wrapping that up. And so when it's done, what you bought will be what you get.
Thank you, Gerald.
Hi, my name is Loretta Hoffman. I have two questions. The first question is, will the developers put money into the project? And my second question is, I am a federal worker. I now work from home, thank God. I was working at 1200 New Jersey Avenue, Washington, D.C., Department of Transportation. And the federal people like to come out and have good places to eat. And you, like I said, you do have the Census Bureau where all the federal agencies are. Y'all need, this development need to think about bringing good quality food for the community, for those federal government workers who work inside the gate, could come out and have some decent stuff. No Popeyes, none of those Chinese places, but decent places. Like I said, when I was working down in 1200 New Jersey Avenue, we have decent places we come out to eat. And like I said, walking, that's good plan for the area. So you need to bring quality things that will bring people who, like myself, is a Fed. I'm going on 40 years of federal government work, and I'll be retiring soon. But I'm saying you need to think about things like that to have federal government workers to bring revenue into this county. This part of the county is always left behind. You go to Walmart, they have everything. So we hope that you could bring those type of things in this part of the county.
Me again. But I'm actually going to speak, so what I'm talking about is Town Square at Suitland Federal Center, which is the development project across Suitland Road from the Federal Center. So we actually do have retail, pretty robust retail plan for that community. And so the homeowner is right that originally we thought we'd be done, right? And we're not there yet. But what is on the horizon, what is in the plan and how we expect that to roll out over the next 5 years is as follows. So the old, directly across Suitland Road, there next to the post office, there's an old laundromat. We actually have site control over that. We're going to take another shot at leasing it up with some type of destination, quality food service, fast casual dining, so that we have quality operators, quality services, and quality goods for the community, not only for the residents who are there, right? For the residents who are there, but also in anticipation of people walking across the parking lot at the Federal Center to come and patronize. Secondly, at the corner of Suitland and Silver Hill Road, we're actually going out to the marketplace, hopefully by the end of the fourth quarter 24, early 25, to at least take another stab at a hotel facility that we want to develop on the corner. And on the ground floor of that hotel is going to be retail that's not just servicing, it's going to be located in the hotel, but it's going to face outward to support the community as well as the residents and the employees there. Again, to your point, quality dining establishment, quality retail that's available for not only those people who work there, but people who live there, to change the community from what we've known it to be over the past several decades. In addition to that, we've got significant portions of retail that that'll happen on Town Square, but I'm gonna let my colleagues from the revenue.
Yeah, and as Fabian mentioned during his presentation, the redevelopment at the Creative Suitland parcel will include a food hall type structure is one of the things that we were seeking in the redevelopment. So there will be food, not just for the federal workers, but for the community, the members that live here. And as far as 1200 New Jersey Avenue, you know, that took some time to get like that. That was not an overnight. So it will be a very similar thing of you're going to see the buildings coming up, and we're actively trying to make sure that there's attractive retail that, again, not just benefits the federal workers, but the residents that are here.
Second, you can answer the second question, will the developers put money in the project?
So these are typically public-private partnerships, right? So the developers will be providing capital as well. There'll be a variety of sources just depending on the capital stacks, but they are in part providing capital. But again, it just depends on the final, these are not 100% county subsidized, projects, if that's the gist of the question, but these are public-private partnerships.
Yeah, I'd like to make some clarity on the federal property. The federal property will be fully funded by the federal government. That money doesn't come from a private source or the county. Okay, that's separate for the park here. Because it's on federal property, it's federally owned. That money comes strictly out of the federal budget.
Hi, my name is Brooke Kidd, and I'm the Executive Director of Joe's Move It Emporium. And our project, Creative Suitland Arts Center, is a partnership with the Revenue Authority. And we are open now, doing cultural arts programming, providing some high-quality services, including space for artists to produce and teach. We have food trucks, we have vendors, we have all kinds of events. I want to highlight Malachi Robinson, the director of the site, and we need you to be the audience, because it'll be the ripple effect to attract people that will be part of the restaurants, that will be part of the next wave of development. So we hope that you'll check out our events and be part of it.
Thank you.
I do have a follow-up question. I guess what will be the I guess for the federal portion, that green space, is there like a designated parking space or parking lot for that? Just in thinking about a large event of some sort, what would be the designated parking space for that?
Well, the park is not really designed for a large event that would handle parking, but there's parking on the federal property, okay? And that's for the federal workers. So if there was a large event, say maybe a farmer's market or like we talked one time before I came to your office, there was a large art pop-up event, something, additional parking would probably have to be negotiated with other lots in the area, things like that, or just the public parking that's provided on the street, He meant for like a large event of people parking.
Hi, I'm Eliza.
Yeah, right.
I work with Rodney at GSA. And I can't resist interrupting. Well, we have, there's an existing, what we call curb cut. There's an existing driveway area. And I think one of you guys had a question, about just how this is, or how Suitland Village Green, the only reason really, Rodney mentioned, we've been talking about this for 20 years, but due to the redevelopment, that's kind of pushed this forward from GSA, right? Because this road, thanks to the redevelopment authority and the developer and the town square, this road is going to be greatly improved. So because this road, what we mean is extensive landscaping along the median we were talking about, walkability between the town square and what you're talking about, and the federal, so the federal workers, so they can go back and forth, and so that people can traverse this green space and get to the metro easier instead of the little, what we call a goat trail that's there now. And then there's also going to be this little area which will be pavers or some type of pavement where you'll be able to go in with your food truck or whatever for an event, and that's why I interrupted.
So parking,
Can I
you
answer
were
the
talking
question?
about parking for like an event?
Rodney, I can try to help out on this. Good evening, everyone. My name is Renard Baker with CJR Development. We're partners with the Redevelopment Authority. To answer your question, we do have parking that is open on the Town Square Boulevard side and the Art Vista, which is directly across from the park. So you will be allowed to park along that street, Town Square Boulevard and Rose Park and Art Vista. And also, we're going to have a parking garage that's that's going to be built in phase 4 of the community development. And it's right across the garage, the park, the street parking, everything is directly across from the park. No, there's no cost for the garage. Unless Revenue Authority decides to put a cost in. But right now, there's no cost for the garage, I know, for parking. The parking is for the retail. Street parking is free. Right now, everything is slated to have free parking.
For the amount of people you're talking about, 1,800 additional government workers, new residents, a hotel, and you're talking about street parking?
No, there's a parking garage, there's street parking that will handle all that. For the federal government, they will have parking on their own lots.
On outside, that's what I mentioned earlier, yes. Yeah, I think your question was specifically for, say, if Creative Suitland wanted to use our space. Okay, we talked about it when it's a large event. The federal government is not to my knowledge, is going to provide parking on the federal side because this is a campus. So it would be public parking, parking in the area, even that I can make with, I guess, the other folks in there. But the federal probably would be allowed for parking like that.
My name is Veronica, and I live in the senior building in Town Square. And I'm glad you all addressed the fact that we're going to build up that area that's hills of dirt, that's empty. And also, I look out my window when I see that house, and I walk around the property. I said, this is such a beautiful property. Why don't they finish what they started? True. So I'm looking at whether or not the county council and whether or not the county exec is really thinking anything about that area, that Suitland area. Do they care? Do they really care? And also, we need a grocery store in that area. You know, there are no grocery, all of the grocery stores down the street, the Giant. But we need a grocery store right there in that area. We were told that there was going to be a grocery store in that area, along with other retail areas, other retail where we can shop. And if our relatives came and they wanted to stay in a hotel. So I'm interested in, you said in the next 5 years, but you know, some of us don't have all that time. So we'd love to see a grocery store that you don't have to, that you can go out, or a coffee shop that's like you said, not Popeyes or these other little places that folks hang out and you're afraid to go in.
Yes, ma'am. So your point, you make a very good point. It wasn't the original plan was to take this time, but this is where we are. So to answer your question, all that is still in the plan. All of it is still, we intend to execute. We're behind the original plan, but where we are next, the next thing up is going to be the fast casual dining place at the old laundromat at 4524 Suitland Road. Soon after that, we hope to put some retail on Suitland Road near the corner where the hotel is going to go, and some retail spaces inside the town square. But again, you know, we're on a different schedule now because for a lot for reasons that were beyond our control. It's not the county executive's fault. It's not the county council's fault because Town Square Suitland Federal Center is sponsored by the Redevelopment Authority, but those are all private developers that come in. And so for what we ask them to do is to fulfill the design and the plans for that. And if they can't afford to pay for it, it doesn't happen. So we're still looking for people to execute on the development plan, and that's really the explanation for that. It has nothing to do with the lack of legislation. It has nothing to do with county funds. It has all to do with the market forces that we have to deal with today. So we apologize, but I can't say I'm as frustrated as you are because I don't live there, right? But I certainly hear what you're saying, and I want you to understand that you're concerned, and I'll follow on that.
Thank you, Gerald. We have time for one more question. He answered your question? Okay, thank you.
If anyone else wants to leave additional comments, my email is on the attached document that you have. And feel free to send me your comments. That way we can look at all your views and have your input, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Rodney. each of you had great questions, and we want you to stay and can be continually involved in the process. But it was all about development tonight. We want to bring you back and make sure that you talk about and be ready to discuss the kind of cultural arts you would like to see in the community. In our meetings that will begin in September, we will be having our consultant team lead that discussion. So there are several key areas. If you come up before you leave and look in the map, you'll see several key areas where there could be possibilities for future art. And we want you to be involved in determining what that is, what it looks like, and whether or not you'll be able to utilize it, not only for adults, but children as well. So we're hoping that you will continue to dialogue with us. We will be bringing our partners back. But before I have all of you and dismiss you for this evening, I want to thank our Deputy Director, James Hunt, for coming out and being with us. I really want to thank our partners from the Department of Parks and Recreation, who were really intimately involved in developing the cultural arts study. Would you wave your hand? So please, please, to all of our partners, you see that they've had a lot of questions. This dialogue, we want to continue, and we will leave space on our agenda for more dialogue at our future meetings that will begin in September. So stay involved, stay focused on your desires. We have your information, and we will be contacting you about our future meetings. And I hope that you will involve your residents in your community and get them involved to come out in our meetings in September. We had 107 people register for this meeting, and as you see, we didn't get quite that, but the rain, the clouds could have hindered many folks from wanting to come out tonight. But I want this room filled the next time we have another meeting. So I'm depending on you and you and you to get your residents out, to come out to our meeting and discuss, because it's nothing like us putting up something and then we hear, oh, you did this, we were never involved. So the only way we can hear your desires if you come out to our meeting and let us know. So stay tuned. Thanks to our director for coming out, our planning board chair for being here, General Services Administration, Revenue Authority, Redevelopment Authority, thank you, and the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council, thank you, and have a wonderful, safe evening. Good night.